air in there as possible. And just pour the apple cider vinegar, and it's great if you can get organic apple cider vinegar raw with the mother. That means it has the live vinegar culture still in it. It hasn't been filtered and pasteurized and all that garbage, and it's still a live healing food. So that's the kind of vinegar I recommend. Bragg is a good brand, B-R-A-G-G. That's here in the States. I'm not sure how available it is other places, but I'm sure you can find some good raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar wherever you're at, because it's a very common food. So you cover over the herb by about a ½ inch or an inch. So you're going to have just a little more vinegar than herb in this jar. Then put the lid on nice and tight, let it sit for 2 weeks, shaking it every day in a dark, cool place, in a cabinet in your in a kitchen cupboard, or a root cellar or a basement, or wherever you have a place that it's not going to have direct sunlight or a lot of heat, is a great place to have these. And after 2 weeks, you strain it through a cloth, and there's your finished tincture. It's very simple, very easy. And that's the same preparation or the same procedure for making an alcohol tincture, too. If you're making one of those, you just use vodka instead of vinegar. And yeah, you can make your own vinegar. Basically, you take the fresh apple juice, preferably from your own home juicer, but you can use apple juice from the store, but it's much, much better if you juice it yourself and have it fresh. And then basically you leave it open to the air for a little bit. This is a very, very basic, simple way. There are people who really get into it, and there's more techniques you can learn. But basically, you're going to leave it open to the air for a couple days with some cheesecloth over it, just sitting on the counter, and the cheesecloth to keep the dust and insects out. And that's going to accumulate some yeast, which is going to ferment it into hard cider, like an apple juice wine, basically. And then once it's fermented the sugars into alcohol, then you let it get some air again, and that time a different set of organisms are going to colonize it, like Acetobacter and Lactobacillus bacteria, and those bacteria are going to consume the alcohol and turn it into acetic acid, which is vinegar. So it's a two-step process. And there's some good books out there on making your own vinegar, too. I would just, go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Borders.com or wherever you like to get your books and just look up making vinegar. And you can get some really neat books on the subject. But that's the very, very, very basics of it. It's basically you make a wine and then you let the wine ferment a second time into vinegar. But yeah, you can definitely make your own vinegar. You can make it out of any fruit juice, too. You can actually make it out of any liquid with sugar in it. So you can experiment a little better, but for medicinal purposes, we use apple cider vinegar. And then once you have that nice, strong lobelia tincture, what you're going to do, and its action differs based on how much you take of it. So if you take a teensy amount, like half a dropperful or so, and most of my doses in tinctures are in dropperfuls. That means the little dropper in a tincture bottle that you buy at the health food store, or a little eyedropper that you can get at a pharmacy supply or wherever. Just fill that up once by squeezing the little bulb, letting it fill up. That's a dropper full. And it ends up being pretty close to 30 drops. So roughly 30 drops is a dropper full. Don't worry about counting the drops. As long as you get close, that's good. It's not exact biochemistry here. It's your body is advanced enough to take what it needs from the herb, so get real close to the right dose, and you don't have to worry about having a milligram too much or too little, because it's a natural substance that your body knows how to handle, and so it can take care of it itself. And so don't worry about really being too finicky about this. But about half a dropperful is a stimulant. It'll wake you up a little bit, get you going. Take 2 or 3 dropperfuls, and it then becomes a relaxant, a sedative. You can also use that to stop a seizure. If someone has epilepsy and they're having a seizure, put a couple dropperfuls of lobelia in their mouth under their tongue, and almost immediately they will come out of that seizure and relax and go, oh, wow, I'm back to normal. I'm okay now. So that's a wonderful, wonderful dose. And also, you would use a small dose, 1 to 2 dropperfuls if you want to stop someone from vomiting. Or also in that dose, if you want to help someone cough up phlegm, if they have a lot of mucus in their throat, I would suggest drinking some water too, because it's usually they're just dry, which is why the mucus is so sticky, and eliminating dairy products. So nix the dairy and drink more water. That'll help it come up. But a little more lobelia